He crowned himself at the Australian Open, won in Doha, led the world rankings, and everyone predicted a historic year. But suddenly, everything shattered in Barcelona. That single match against Virtanen in Barcelona was enough to completely derail his entire season. And there is something crucial people did not get at first. Some accused him of backing out, exaggerating, or saving himself for Roland Garros or Wimbledon. But looking at what followed, it is clear that was no excuse. Quite simply, no player of his caliber skips Madrid, Roland Garros, Queens, or Wimbledon just to take a break. The great Alex Corretja explained something very interesting about skipping the grass season. He said returning directly to such a dangerous surface after weeks of inaction was a massive risk, because on grass, the ball flies much faster and the bounces are unpredictable. The impact is harsher and the wrist suffers a whole lot more. And that makes perfect sense. If Carlos could not hit properly on clay, imagine trying to jump right back in at the Wimbledon tournament. That would be playing Russian roulette with his body. And therein lies the difference between impatient fans and a cautious, professional medical team. The public demands an immediate comeback, but his team thinks long-term. They want him still competing 10 years from now. Listening to the doctors and specialists, only one priority remains clear. They must avoid a relapse at all costs, because a poorly healed wrist injury becomes an endless nightmare. That is where the darkest shadow over this case returns. The fear of the pain becoming chronic. Even though Rafael Nadal suggested this does not look like a chronic issue, the mere fact that people are talking about it so much shows the deep concern surrounding the player, especially since tennis has already seen careers cut short or forever changed by similar wrist problems. That is why I am convinced his team is moving with extreme caution, as they would rather sacrifice half a season than risk his entire career. And perhaps the most painful part is that Alcaraz is learning a lesson every tennis legend had to face sooner or later. The body always sets the limit. It happened to Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, and now it is his turn. Carlos has always brought an almost superhuman energy to the court, reaching impossible balls, delivering unbelievable plays, competing week after week, and pushing his physical limits to the very edge. But eventually, the body demands a heavy price. I firmly believe this setback will completely change how Alcaraz schedules his tournaments in the future. Before, he thought he could play everything, but now he sees it is not like that. There will be events to skip, tours to select, and times when resting is worth more than playing. And as hard as it is to accept, that is also part of an athlete's maturity, because Carlos is only 23. And that is exactly why his team is being so incredibly cautious, since the goal is not saving 2026, but protecting 15 more years of tennis. That is why skipping Wimbledon and missing Roland Garros makes sense, giving up number 1, sacrificing thousands of ATP points, and vanishing for months. Because the real fear is not losing trophies, but losing the player destined to dominate tennis. Meanwhile, the professional tour feels a very strange void. Yes, Sinner is dominant, breaking records and having a legendary season, but the tour feels incomplete because the biggest rivalry of this generation is, without doubt, Alcaraz versus Sinner. And right now, that thrilling duel is frozen, all because of a wrist. While one lifts trophies and shatters historic records, the other fights simply to hit a ball without feeling pain. To me, that sums up the chaos in world tennis today. We expected to enjoy a legendary rivalry, but a seemingly minor injury changed everything instantly, completely shattering the balance of the tour. Right now, all eyes are locked on Canada. Montreal could be the very stage where Carlos Alcaraz begins to rebuild. But the doubt is staggering. Stepping back onto the court is